Hey guys, it's Drac and welcome to a exciting video on undead archery. I'm using the GoPro because it should allow me to shoot while doing the video itself. Now, I purchased when I was first starting the channel these, and it's taken about a month for them to arrive because they come from China. Now, ironically, similar to how Nerf has Kush darts, which are a cheaper alternative to buying elites, China has a company which sells arrows like this. I don't know what this is, but the Chinese arrows are 31 inches long. They're actually closer to like 30.5 inches long. They're 80 centimeters. They come with these vanes. These vanes are a very thin rubber. They're not actually like a plastic or anything. I think that's interesting. And the reason that I purchased them is I got a set of 2 dozen for the low price of about $35. They've since increased the 2 dozen price. It was cheaper when I bought them, and I'll put a link to this eBay store in the description box below, but it's about $40, which at that point you're splitting hairs. The difference isn't that huge. The bottom line is these are arrows that cost between $1 and $2 each. They have fiberglass shafts, which seem pretty solid. I'm not sure how the straightness on them is, but it looks good just eyeballing it. I'd need a machine to actually get a definitive amount. I wanted to make a review video on them because I thought that it was a great beginner's arrow. I'm currently looking to partner with a couple of different arrow manufacturers to see if I can't find a sponsor for the channel to have nice arrows to use for hunting and competition archery. But for just the, I guess, archer's equivalent of plinking, just shooting in my backyard, trying to become better at the hobby in general, I thought that these would be a good option, and the price is just tough to beat. I want to call them Kush arrows. I'm going to call them Kush arrows. I think that's the only way to play it, since they're kind of not knockoffs, but they're just very inexpensive. You can see that they are threaded for field points. That's what I've been doing while talking during this video, is I've been kind of checking them, but they're threaded for regular inserts. They have an aluminum insert up at the tip. They have this fiberglass shaft, regular white plastic nocks. They do have a colored vane, although it doesn't look like the vanes are properly aligned for the arrows. So threading these in, they look to have what is an 100 grain field point. These are not the bullet style that I normally like, but for the price you can't really beat that. Similar to how Kush darts have different tips than elite darts. I'm going to toss them all in my hip quiver. Again, I'm just starting with pretty baseline stuff, so I didn't buy my hip quiver for fashion. I bought it because it was $7, and the male version of the same quiver, this being the one that I wanted, just because it was a cheap, easy starting hip quiver. The male version was like 15 and this one was 7 total, so I really like that I could get a pink one for half the price. It means that the lovely Draculina and I can both have a hip quiver, as opposed to just one of us right now. Speaking of how archery stuff is expensive, for those of you that have donated to the Indiegogo campaign already, thank you so very much. You're making it possible for me to kind of achieve this new hobby, and it's just great. So I'm going to fire all 24 arrows, and then I'm going to check them afterwards, and I'm going to speed up the footage after the first 3 shots. It should be pretty obvious, but I'm firing my Samick Sage. It's 35 pounds. I'm standing 15 yards away from these 2 sack targets, and I intend to alternate left, right, left, right, left, right. Now, part of the variation will be that I'm just not very talented yet, but here we go. Like I said, I'm gonna take the first 4 shots, and then I'm just gonna fast forward through the remaining 20, and then I'll do a segment afterwards kind of talking about how I feel about the arrows in general, having put 24 of them downrange. That wasn't that bad. It's a good way to start off. Proof that you can get better. I want to say that the arrows are 650 grain total, but your mileage may vary. I know that they sell a lot of different varieties, and this isn't the only eBay seller that sells them. All right, let's power through the rest of this quiver. All right, so that is all 24 shots. Let's go over and see what we've got to work with here. So the groupings have outliers because I'm not very good yet, but we've got a reasonably tight grouping here, and I mean, it's definitely not statistically sound, I guess, to assume anything based on an inexperienced archer, but the arrows seem to fly more or less straight. I had 2 shots, these 2, which I noticed had a little bit of pluck to them, and they moved out, and that bothered me just a little bit. But all in all, for the price, they seem like fine arrows. Looking at here, these 2 were very close, and this fiberglass shaft material looks to be fine after 1 shot each. I don't see any of these with any visible damage to veins or anything else. All in all, I want to say that these were a pretty okay purchase, and I'll probably be using them into the future for shooting just kind of in my backyard. Definitely not a bad purchase. I'm impressed with these overall, I want to say. So my Koosh arrows, or my Chinaland arrows, whatever you want to call them, turned out very, very nice. They're definitely not the nicest arrows, but for the price, that's tough to beat. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. I love getting feedback on the new channel. So just as a fun little addendum, I decided to try one of the Koosh or China arrows on a hard target, since all I did was fire them at soft targets in the video. And you can see here that not only this one, but a separate one that I put into a tree just kind of exploded upon impact with a hard target right along its aluminum insert. So are they nice arrows? Sure. Do you get what you pay for? Absolutely. The higher quality arrows can hit much harder targets and be absolutely a-okay, but first shot with both of these arrows on a hard target, and we just, there we go, had a complete separation of these fibers. Don't mess with these too much. They are kind of sharp in a lot of ways. You don't want to get micro splinters. But that is my review of these arrows. Hope you enjoyed it.